We're on.
We're on. Welcome to the last day of May.
Oh my goodness. It is the last day of May.
It is the last
What
day
happened?
of May. I'm going to let you do the thing with the computer because I'm slightly technologically challenged.
Just refresh it.
Kat Ludwig, slightly technologically challenged. I'm a registered dietitian.
I'm Stephanie Pepper, and I'm not technically challenged about that.
In the same way.
And I'm a speech language pathologist.
This is why we make a good team, because we're not challenged in the same
Areas.
areas.
That is
Yes.
correct.
Welcome to Dysphagia Duo's Wednesday night training. We thought we would do something a little bit different tonight, so we're not going to be cooking.
It
is travel season.
It is travel season. And we are traveling tomorrow.
And
so
we are going to a conference tomorrow to work on making our business more valuable to you. So we also had someone in one of our groups open a chat about traveling with dysphagia, and we are traveling, and I know people want to travel. You want to be able to go out and do things, so it's important for us to give you as much information as possible. So I did look at the TSA website on their rules about food and medications. So that's a good, we're going to kind of start there. We've got a bunch of tips and things, technique-wise, product-wise, equipment-wise, to talk with you about. But we want your questions. Please ask your questions. We want all the questions because we're probably going to not think of something that you're going to think of.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to address that. So what do you bring when you're traveling? So we're going to go over airplane travel and car travel because they're a little bit different. So let's start with airplane travel. So TSA, we're no stranger to TSA. We have this beautiful metallic shiny BlendJet because in November we went to the speech language pathology conference in New Orleans.
we did.
And Stephanie's BlendJet didn't make it through security. Somehow mine did. I'm not gonna try again because I'm a little bit nervous that I'll get caught next time.
And they will take it.
Karen, yes, traveling by plane is super challenging. So they did take our BlendJet.
Yep.
Stephanie's.
Well, they took this part
Right.
of my BlendJet.
Yes,
Because as you can see, it leaves an exposed
blade,
blade,
which is
which
dangerous.
could be dangerous.
People could hurt each other with that.
So I got to keep that part of it, and it is still stored away right now, which is good because Kat will need it.
Kat's gonna need it when she breaks the part that she has on hers, which is currently packed to be in a checked bag to go with us on our trip tomorrow.
Yes.
So that nobody takes it. So I have an alternate. This one is not quite as powerful. It does not do the same thing. It is portable. It does have a little USB port here. Same one as the BlendJet. It's just not as strong. It's not going to blend some of the things that the BlendJet is going to blend. It comes apart, so you can store this and just carry this piece. It's great if you have just a smoothie or anything like that. But lid comes off, so it's in 3 pieces. Just like the BlendJet, just a different 3 pieces. So I don't recommend buying this one though. I got this on Amazon. This is not my recommendation for you if you need one. There are others out there that are better than this.
Right.
And if you get it stuck, so it stops blending, it's hard to get it out because the top is narrow and it's not as strong of a motor. So it's great if you're just like blending a shake or some protein powder and some liquid. It's great for that. But something like this is also great for that. That's just a blender bottle and the ball to mix it up.
That's what I use.
You can take this with you if it's empty.
For shakes, that's what I use.
Yep, TSA is not going to flag you. You can take this. You can get water from the fountains. They have the fancy filtered fountains in most of the airports now. Or you can go get milk from one of the coffee shops or
whatever you want.
There are options. So if you're going to take a blender bottle or a shaker bottle or a blender like this on an airplane, you're going to want to bring a packet of some kind, right? And there are companies out there that make powdered protein that tastes halfway decent. The Orgain chocolate tastes better than the vanilla, but it's still a little bit gritty. This Celebrate I got from one of the hospitals I work at. I did not steal it. It was given to me by the dietary manager. Just FYI. No stealing going on. I feel like
Glad
I need
you
to
clarified.
specify that. So this is just a protein powder that's used for bariatric patients. It's got 20 grams of protein. It's also got probiotics and fiber in it. Put one of those bottles in my carry-on and a powdered protein powder. Yep, that's exactly what you should be doing. So take one of these. Dysphagia Aid makes a pre-thickened high-calorie shake in a powder mix. And you can get these on Amazon. Elaine is the owner of Dysphagia Aid. She's amazing. Please go and support her.
As a matter of fact, we won this from her.
Yes.
At the last conference we went to.
We did. So that actually brings me to my next. So if you have a cup that you're going to bring with you and your protein, and you have one of these little whisk thingies, also, this would work as well if you don't have the blender bottle or a blender. If you just have one of these, you just turn it on and it blends and you just mix it right in your cup or...
It's just a little whisk.
Yep. It's a battery-powered whisk. These things are fantastic. You can get them, I think I saw them last at like TJ Maxx or Marshall's for like $10.
Oh,
not bad. Yeah. So what if you don't have powder in pre-packaged? Then you take something like this that you already have. Don't go buy extra. Get some of those little Ziploc snack pouches, or they make longer ones now for like trail mix and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Portion out your protein powder in your bags and just put them. Make sure you label them. TSA may flag you. They shouldn't, but they may flag you. And bring your pre-portioned protein powder with you. Mm-hmm. If you need thickener, bring thickener with you. If you have the gel thickener, it's got to go in your 1 quart baggie that goes through security with your other liquids. So if you have anything liquid, this would include like peanut butter. Like if you can handle the thickness of peanut butter, you can get little packets that are similar to this at the grocery store of peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, etc. Mm-hmm. But these have to go in that little 1 quart bag
with your shampoo and your toothpaste and
your hand sanitizer and whatever else you bring. These have to go in there. Now, if you have something like Purific that's a powder, you can bring as many of them as you want. It doesn't matter. They're not going to flag you for that. Okay. So the powder, so Dysphagia Aid makes the powder. Simply Thick makes the gel. Either are good, but these you have to be careful with your amount. So,
and Dysphagia Aid also has just non-flavored thickener as well.
Mm-hmm, they do.
They have the shake mix, which is what this sample is, but they also just have thickener.
Regular old
which
powder.
Is technically our favorite.
I would agree. We got to try both the Purific and the Dysphagia Aid powder at that conference we went to in November. Mm-hmm. And they both tasted okay, but this one had less of a flavor, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a good place to start. Karen, TSA did not like you bring your own ingredients. Did they take it away from you, though, is my next question. So that brings me to my next. So on my computer here, I have some tips here on traveling with dysphagia. So Simply Thick, so the company that makes these, put out a handout, and I will post a link to it into this video. So they didn't take it away from you because they couldn't figure out that there was anything wrong with it. So this is my point here. It's gonna be an ordeal, and you have to be ready to go through it. If they flag you and you haven't done anything wrong, odds are they're gonna let you keep all your stuff. Mm-hmm. They're gonna test it, they're gonna smell it, they're gonna etc. But they're not gonna take it away from you. So this is one of those points where I want to say you have to advocate for yourself, and not in a angry. No, but we want you to say, I have a medical condition. This is what I need to do to survive. This is my process. You do what you need to do, but I need this stuff to live. And odds are they're not going to take it away from you because you haven't done anything wrong.
Right. It is not a liquid. Mm-hmm. The only thing, if you have it in a zip top bag or a zippy bag, that may seem a little suspicious, but there's nothing that they're going to find out.
Right.
I mean, they can open it and smell it, that it tastes or it smells vanilla-y or whatever.
Right.
Or they can test it. You have the right to travel with the things that have been approved.
Yep.
They may check them because that's their way of keeping all of us safe.
Right.
It's not a bad thing that they're testing and checking. It keeps us safe. But you have the right to carry the things that TSA is saying that you can carry.
Yep. So
do it.
This dysphagia aid, or this Simply Thick handout, bad actors. Well, here's the thing, Karen. We know you. We know you're not going to do anything wrong. And ultimately, they determined that you weren't either. So I'm glad it worked out.
And take just the amount that you need for the travel itself. Mm-hmm. Pack the rest in your check-on.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to be concerned about those.
I keep saying carry-on, and I mean checked bag.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So Simply Thick put out this handout in 2017. So the first step that they give is plan ahead. The second step that they give is there can be exemptions to the 3 to 1 to 1 liquid rule. Hi, Chef. Nice to see you. So it says medically necessary liquids are allowed through security, and it can exceed the 3.4 ounce limit. Remove them from the carrying case and send them into the x-ray separately, and inform the officers.
That was awesome.
I can't talk. I love it. I get excited and then I can't talk.
It's okay. I'm a speech therapist. I can help you.
You can help me. Perfect. Inform the officers of the item before screening begins. So this means that if you have like the dispenser bottle of Simply Thick, you can technically take that as long as you follow all the rules and say all the right things. Thank you, Chef. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're watching. And if you have food ideas that you want us to make for our audience, we'll take food ideas because I know you make some amazing stuff. So at some point we're going to go see him. He's in Atlanta.
Yes.
Yeah, I worked with him at Wolfgang Puck all those years ago.
Nice.
So, and I think you're at Coca-Cola now, if I'm not mistaken. You'll have to correct me. Okay, so there's a documentation piece for TSA as well. So print out the TSA notification card for individuals with medical conditions and present that to security. So you're gonna have to go onto the TSA website. If you have medical documentation from your doctor, that will help as well. Well, Kara, I didn't actually work with Wolfgang Puck. I worked with awesome people like Chef Rashan, but I did get to meet him once. But he hated Seattle, and I lived in Seattle, so tangent.
So you worked at Wolfgang Puck's restaurant?
At Wolfgang Puck's restaurant in Seattle, catering in Seattle, and he didn't like Seattle, so we didn't see him very often. Okay, so the big thing is simply inform our officers of the items before screening begins. TSA needs to know beforehand. You have to tell them. You cannot try to hide it. You have to be very, very, very upfront.
And open. Mm-hmm.
I love you guys. That's so great. I did some cool things in my previous life. I mean, but I think this is pretty cool now too. But that's just me.
That's cute.
Yeah. I've got a bunch of Wolfgang Puck cookbooks. Maybe we'll dive into one of them and make something dysphagia appropriate soon.
Let's do it.
I like that idea. Okay. So the next one is carry-on meal planning. So it's wise to plan ahead and pack your carry-on meals because they're not going to be able to give you snacks. Now they can potentially give you drinks if they're appropriate. Thanks, chef. Pack what you need to take with you. So one of the things I saw on the TSA website was when I typed in, what can I bring? Food. I just typed food. It said canned food. So there will be times when you can bring a can of soup or something with you and you let TSA know and they can scan it. Now, if they don't like the way it looks, they're going to toss it. But if they're okay with it, then you have that can of soup to take with you.
So they may check the seal.
Mm-hmm.
They may make sure that it appears
sound. They're going to x-ray it.
Yeah.
So
and if it says chicken noodle, they're going to be able to tell whether there's noodles inside.
Now, if you're traveling a long distance, try to bring it with you. Try to send it through security and get it scanned. If you're traveling a short distance, bring a shake or something that's easy and you know is going to get through no problem. But if you're traveling a long distance, like you went to Australia to join your husband a couple months ago for a business trip, that's a long flight. That's a lot of traveling. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to bring something with you.
Yep.
Now you can try to find something in the airport. So you take your blender that did make it through security and you try to find something that you can blend at one of the restaurants. But it's a trial and error type of a thing and it may not go super well, depending on what they have in some of those restaurants.
Yeah, and I think some of your juicier soups
would be fine.
Would blend well.
Yeah.
So with something like this, you'll need a lot of liquid.
Yes.
And it may not get super smooth. So if you're
Correct.
not one that needs super smooth, you can handle a little bit of texture, this should be fine for a very liquidy soup.
Yep.
With some vegetables.
If you can handle texture, this kind of a blender is going to be great. If you cannot handle texture, you need to plan ahead and just plan on having shakes or something to keep you going while you're traveling. Mm-hmm. Because while you're traveling, it's exhausting. We know it's a lot of hurry up and wait, and then hurry up and run, and then hurry up and wait. So it's exhausting. We all know it. After traveling, all of us are always exhausted. So make sure that you have a plan in place. Peanut butter. You can bring little packets of peanut butter in your liquids. You can attempt to bring canned soup. I am a fan of packing whatever snacks that I can. So if you are tolerating cookies in like milk, because we have a couple of clients that can eat cookies, bring some kind of like, so Karen, this blender you can because the blade is not exposed. Nobody's going to be able to touch that blade. So if it's a blender like this, that's not going to get things super smooth, you can bring it through security. The BlendJet you cannot, because they can twist that off and the blade is exposed. Something like this is safer, but it's also not as strong. The motor is not as powerful. It's not going to get things as smooth. And if you need thicker, it's going to struggle more with the thicker textures. So you have to figure out, and this was maybe like $15 on Amazon. I would not recommend it. Because
unless I
can do the same thing with a protein drink that I can with this one, basically. Because I'm not, if you're just using powder. So if you want to try a soup, I would try at home before you go on a blender like this, pour your soup in there, see how it goes, see how smooth it gets, see what you can do with something you're comfortable with at home. Hi. Yes, you ask us questions and we will do what we can to provide you with as much information as possible.
You bet.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so if your blender doesn't have the blade exposed, it'll go through TSA without you having to check it. You can just carry it on. So let's see if there's any other things on here. Nope. Okay. So traveling, there are quite a few blogs online that you can look up traveling with dysphagia, and it'll give you some good information. So all of these are based on air travel, not car travel. So let's talk about road trips.
That changes things a lot.
It changes things quite a bit. We can take our portable blender. We can charge the portable blender with the car, as long as it's a newer car and it's got a USB.
There's adapters too. So.
Yep. Karen, I'm gonna have to look because this is the only one I've bought myself and it's terrible. So, look on Amazon. I hadn't thought about cruises. See, this is why we wanted questions, because this gives us ideas.
I have been on one cruise.
I have not been on any. So
I'm gonna have to do some research on that, Karen.
So
we should have done research on that already.
My first question is, do you have to be careful with things you bring on board like you do with airlines? Like, could you bring the Blendjet on a cruise?
I don't remember.
Or would that be considered
been a while.
dangerous?
My kids were little.
They'll let you take a Blendjet on. Okay, so I would call and find out. Bring letter
You
of...
did the New Kids cruise?
What's that?
New Kids on the Block.
Oh, that sounds great. I was slightly
fangirl.
I enjoyed the music too. I was just really young at the time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
So
okay.
Let's go back to car travel just real quick.
Yep.
So I love it. I love it so much. This is why I love doing this. We get fun information. So bring a cooler. I'm one of those nerds that keeps a cooler in my car because I never know when I'm going to need to stop at the grocery store, and I like to have an ice pack in there because it got up to 90 degrees today in Indiana and Michigan. So I like to keep a cooler in my car just because I'm a nerd. Not everybody does that. But bring a cooler. Bring things that are appropriate for you to eat in that cooler. So if you have soups that are cold soups that you can tolerate, that would be good. If you are going a long distance and then staying somewhere, bring something that you can heat up later, because you should be able to find amenities where they can heat up something in a microwave or something along that line.
A lot of hotel rooms have microwaves in them.
A lot of them do. And I want to say if you ask, people will usually tell you, yes, we can do that.
Yeah.
So I always say ask, because the worst they can tell you is no.
And some of the hotels have that breakfast area that has the microwave and the, and they would let you use
True
that
story.
usually.
Okay, cruise service told me I couldn't bring one. They will blend food for me in the dining room. Hey, that's good though. If they're willing to do that, that's great. So, oh, that's interesting. Okay.
I missed it.
See, this is why we also want you to make connections with each other. So Kara said that they'll let you take a Blendjet, but they need to know like the dimensions and everything about it.
Gotcha.
So we want you to make connections with each other in these groups as well, because you guys have a lot of information with your experiences that you can share with each other also.
Yeah.
And you know things that even we don't, because like I haven't been on a cruise. Has to be carried on, not in luggage. I would be for that if I had to. Absolutely.
It's interesting. It's worth giving the Carnival Cruise Karen a call and just saying, hey, I have special dietary restrictions. I have to have a special diet.
Yep.
If they're willing to drop everything and blend for you at the drop of a hat, I'd say let them do it.
Yep.
You pay for the trip.
They are there to accommodate you.
To serve you.
You pay for them to serve you. So, and I want to remind everyone to advocate for yourselves. If you need something and you ask for it, the worst they can tell you is no. But if you don't ask, the answer's already no. So you need to ask and tell them what your needs are. And I want to encourage you, even though you might be a little bit embarrassed or nervous, to say it anyways. Because it's important that your needs are met. Mm-hmm. It is important that you get enough food into your body to nourish you so that you can enjoy the things you want to do, like traveling and going on cruises.
Good, Karen. Do that. Call them.
Yes.
Tell them what your issues are and let them plan an accommodation for you.
Thank you, Kara. That's awesome. They'll tell you the steps. I love this. I love doing this stuff. Makes me so happy.
That's perfect. Thank you, Kara.
So anytime you are traveling, it's really important for you to plan ahead. Write down how many days you're going to be gone. Write down how many things you might eat or drink in a day. Make sure that you have a bag or a box or a cooler or something packed and ready to go. You can always buy ice on the road. You can buy ice at any gas station. Mm-hmm. So if you have one of those coolers that has the little plug on the end where you can open it and drain it, you can always have it like in the trunk of your car, mm-hmm. propped up so you can drain it out onto the street or wherever, and then you just put more ice in it. So if you're on a road trip, that's one option for keeping your stuff cool. Now, if you can handle cookies and whatnot, get something like Belvita biscuits, or not the fruit containing ones, because those are going to be tough. But like the brown sugar cinnamon ones, I want to say are smooth, and they'll soak up liquid real good and make a nice little pudding. Mm-hmm. You can buy pudding cups. You can buy Jell-O, and of course, we want you to pay attention to the texture that you need. Mm-hmm. And make sure you bring texture appropriate foods as well. Yep. So I think this is the other thing. So if you're going on a cruise, do they tell you the menu? Do they give you the menu in advance? Because they have the capabilities to do a lot of things.
Yes, they do.
Blenders do not take up a ton of space.
They have a blender.
Well, here's the thing. Most restaurants have a blender, but they will tell you they do not. And part of the reason is because bartenders don't want to make blended margaritas. And so they will just flat out tell you they don't have a blender so that the bartenders don't have to make blended margaritas.
Well, they use a blender in the kitchen.
Most kitchens absolutely have blenders and can blend things for you if they understand. Now, not everyone's going to understand. So this is why we want you to speak up and say, this is what my needs are. Mm-hmm. This is how you can help me. This is fantastic information. Thank you, Kara. This is awesome. Mm-hmm.
How about that? Who knew?
I love it. It's fantastic. So I mentioned Unjury last week. I just found them. They just sent me a recipe book that I haven't even gotten a chance to look at yet online. Each stick, you mix it in 4 ounces of water, and it makes 10 grams of protein. This is root beer flavored. I did drink the root beer one. It tasted pretty darn good. Yeah. If you need it thickened, you get a little bit of thickener, and you add that as well when you mix it up. Mm-hmm. You can do that with your little frother blender stick thing. You can do it in your shaker bottle. You have options, and we want you to feel like you have the support that you need to do the things that you want to do with your life, because dysphagia should not be stopping you in the long run from doing what you want to do. It probably will at times. All health conditions will stop you at times. This is how life works. These setbacks happen. So one of the things that Steph and I do is we help you manage those setbacks so that you can continue to move forward. Mm-hmm.
Well, and so everywhere that is travelable accommodates every other medical condition.
Yep.
So why wouldn't they accommodate you
Yep.
for your nutritional
Yep.
needs? They should.
They should.
And it doesn't, you don't have to get angry about it. You just explain, this is what I need, this is how I can eat, and if you can't accommodate me, then I'll go somewhere else. Yep. I appreciate your help, but I gotta go.
I will not spend my money here. I'll spend it somewhere else. And that usually is the thing that speaks volumes to people, because they want your money. That's how they stay open. So if they can't accommodate you and you're willing to be like, all right, see ya, I'll go somewhere else that can actually help me and wants my money. It sounds rude, but in the grand scheme of the universe, they are not the important one. You are the important one here. We have to keep you safe and keep you alive, and not just alive, but thriving. So I actually wrote an email.
Did you ever get anything back?
I never got anything back. So I wrote an email to the ADA explaining that they accommodate all of these other health conditions, but they don't accommodate people with swallowing disorders at restaurants. And so
Or they don't have rules for it. It doesn't mean that they don't.
Correct. They don't have rules for it. So I don't think part of my goal with Dysphagia Duo is to increase awareness with the rest of the world, because this should not be any different from being in a wheelchair and being able to get up a ramp or upstairs into a restaurant.
Or up to a table or into the bathroom.
So it's important to me that everyone has the same options no matter what. It should not matter.
We're working on it.
We're working on it, and I am
And if you
determined.
need help with that voice, that's what we're here for.
Call us, email us, text us.
We're here to help you with that voice to advocate for yourself.
So if you want to text us, someone, will you please write in the comments 574-475-7285. That's our phone number. Send us a text message. That's one of the things that we do. We want to help you gain your voice. We want you to feel like you can pack a bag and travel. That might be all I have for now.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more that people want to know and want to hear. So if you have more questions about traveling, please send them to us. We want to know so that we can find answers for you. And with us traveling this weekend,
we're going to trial some things. We may even go live during our trip.
I think we should.
We might go live.
Hey, Karen, you got it. I agree. And it makes me so crazy that restaurants don't seem to understand, because I worked in restaurants for many, many years, and every restaurant I worked at had a blender. If Chef Roshan, if you're still on, will you say also whether you've worked in a restaurant that doesn't have a blender? Because I'm willing to bet.
I had a deli and we had a blender.
Right.
We made dressings with a blender.
Yeah, so do they. So do all those restaurants out there. Because you got to emulsify it somehow, and a whisk just does not quite work well enough. So anyway, send us your questions. We are here to support you. We are here to help you. If I need to send another email to the ADA, I absolutely will. And
she will.
You know, maybe they're just a little slow at responding. And that's okay too.
Or they're working on it.
But we need to be heard.
We will.
We will be heard. And this conference we're going to this weekend, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is a lot of other healthcare professionals. So I think there are 16 different healthcare professionals that are going to be at this conference. And I want to say there's going to be 300 or 400 people there. I'm really excited. I'm so excited, you guys. But we're going to get to tell these other healthcare professionals about what we do. And they're going to be able to point people to us to say, these are the ladies that you want to talk to. These are the ones that are helping people with what you have going on. So we're just trying to spread the word about what we're doing.
Well, and we know that there are so many more people out there than we can reach. Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's not talked about as much as some of the other disabilities. And we want to get the word out there, and that's what this part of this weekend is about, is getting the word out there. The more people that know that there's someone to help.
Yep. And not just someone to help, but someone to listen. Because one of the things I can tell you about the last several months that I'm now reflecting on with the health, I can't even say scare, but the health issue that my husband went through, is that he's young. And so people were like, oh, he's young, he's fine. Well, guess what? He wasn't. And he almost died because of it. So just because you're young does not mean that you don't need help. We are here to listen to you. We are here to help you. If you're in your teens or 20s or 30s, these things happen to everybody. It's not just someone who's in their 80s and has a stroke. It's not just someone who has Parkinson's disease. It's not like we are here, and we know that this affects a much broader range of people than the healthcare community thinks it does. I got on my soapbox. I'm really excited about it.
That's all right. So we're here for you. Reach out to us if you need us. If you have questions, we're here to answer them.
Yep. We got you. We got your back. All right, everybody, stay safe. If you're dealing with warm weather, try to stay hydrated as much as possible. Plan on trying to get in an ounce of water every hour minimum, if you can. And stay hydrated to the best of your ability, and eat what you can. We're here to support you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.